Very good morning, folks. Welcome to the Valuation project. You must be very excited to see this assignment plan because I know we are all pumped up to do this project, I guess. Anyways, so this course, this assignment or project in particular has a weightage of 40%. So that tells you how important this project is. In terms of our final marks, the due date is 19th November, which is next Sunday. I'll be the lead for this job, and Marla would be the second. And the job is to value Starbucks. Okay, so the professor has given us two documents: a 10K from Starbucks for 2016, and a Word document explaining what we should be doing. So, in a nutshell, we have four questions to answer. Okay, the material I propose that we refer are pretty much the materials that are covered in class. If you'd like to spend some time on the books, please go ahead. The project overview is we are dealing with a real world problem, Starbucks valuation project. The Excel sheet that we are going to use, which is one of the deliverables, is actually the Excel sheet provided by the professor, and he's using that Excel sheet for the lazy boy valuation. So we're going to use the same template and follow through, and I hope the class this weekend is going to explain much about how to use this Excel sheet. But anyways, my timeline is slightly ahead of schedule, ahead of this weekend's class, so we can use our class to actually refresh our concepts, fine tune our Excel sheets and solutions, and thereby starting early next week we can just submit. Anyways, I'll go through the assignment plan in a short while. So the Excel sheet is there. There are four main deliverables. First question is compute FCFF for Starbucks for the last 3 fiscal years. So he wants, of course, the top down and the bottom up approaches. And then the next question is FCFE for Starbucks for the last 3 fiscal years, and he wants us to compare the results of these total free cash flows. And then the third question is a very interesting question. Is he wants us to come up with a write-up on our strategy and analysis on Starbucks in terms of its growth rate. And then using that growth rate, he wants us to answer the fourth question, which would be the discounted cash flow valuation of Starbucks, and come up with an intrinsic value of the stock, and then decide whether it's a buy, sell, or a hold. And just to give you a rough idea, today it's selling at $56, and the valuation may come high, but we may have to sort of talk about the growth in Asia that is happening with Starbucks opening almost a store a day. However, considering the slowdown in the Chinese economy, we should see how that impacts the cash flows of Starbucks, and then discount that for the intrinsic value, and then decide whether it's a buy, sell, or a hold. Anyways, all these analysis will take place in question number 3, which will evaluate the growth rate, and we'll be using that to answer question number 4. So the deliverable format would be an Excel sheet for most of the questions, question 1, 2, and 4, and a Word document primarily for question number 3. However, I have devised a Word document which will have provisions to explain anything that we want to explain for question 1 through 4. Okay, so this is my strategy for this assignment. Basically, we have less time, we have lots to do in this course and the other course. However, this being an interesting part of investment banking and most of us want to learn, we're going to divide and conquer. And so my suggestion or my first take on this would be question 1. We will split into 2 groups for question 1 and 2, and we'll try to conquer this parallelly. So question 1 would be Venkat, Will, Rob, and Heather. Question number 2 would be Marla, Jordan, Brent, and Kevin. And as you can see, I've put a lead for the group just so that someone takes responsibility for putting things together and submitting. So I will take responsibility for question 1, Marla will take responsibility for question 2. And then for question 3, which is pretty much the write-up, we will pair up Rob and Kevin, and they'll come up with a write-up. And just to facilitate Rob and Kevin, I've got some narratives from industry analysts' website on the growth of Starbucks. So here's a write-up. Will international expansion continue the Starbucks growth story? So this was just a few months ago. And then I have another one, is 9% growth likely? And then another one, which is Starbucks getting attractive. And so this, and there are other references that I put in OneDrive. So if you go to category B project and under valuations and under references, I've got a ton of materials that I got from the Starbucks investor relations website. So most importantly are the Excel sheets that talk about the store counts per state, and if you have time and if you think you can find some information, just go ahead, dive in. You don't have to browse the internet, everything is here. And I also included the Morningstar commentary on the stock, on the company, and what are the risks, what are the bulls and the bears saying for this company, and what is the valuation as of today, just to give us a guidance. Of course, any references, please let me know which document you used, and we can of course reference them properly, thereby eliminating the issues on plagiarism and all that. But the whole idea is to refer as much as possible, so we get a good understanding on how the industry evaluates or values companies, right? So going back to the assignment plan, so that's question 1 through 4, and finally we will do question 4, myself and Marla, we will put things together and wrap it up and then circulate it for your comments. Okay, so assignment timeline, we want to finish by the 19th. We have to submit, so our standard norm is to do it 2 days before, so that's 17th. So back calculating it, I've got these dates populated. Then we have to consider that we have assignments in managerial finance as well, so taking that into consideration, we want to finish as much as possible this week. So if you look at this, we have the assignment plan which I'm sending out today, which is technically tomorrow, I guess. That is 7th of November, and then I hope I don't have to redo this assignment plan, but just in case you guys have any comments, let me know. And we have our individual Zen time from 7th to the 9th, and where we will focus more on this question, try to answer them. So you have basically 3 days. And then on the 10th, I suggest Friday before the class session, let's try to have a working session. Let this be as independent as possible. So question 1 would be just the question 1 group, and question 2 would be the question 2 group. You can either have it on the 10th or 11th, but my suggestion is 10th, so you can fine tune it on the 11th. Okay, so that way there'll be some thinking here that we can spend ahead of time before the class to understand how to use this sheet and all that stuff. And then question 3, Rob, if he wants, he can have a working session with Kevin, but it's totally up to him. However, there is a day planned for that. And question number 4 is to put things together. Me and Marla, we'll figure it out whether we need a working session or just exchange files. But if we do plan, I propose that we have it on the 12th. And then the respective leads will submit their answers on the 12th. And I will compile everything and send send 2 files, the Excel sheet and the Word document, on the 13th. And then we follow the process and then we submit on the 17th. So that's the plan, guys, and I hope the things materialize. What the fuck?